We need to grow. We need to be an effective teacher. We need to empower school educators as such, if at all you want to develop this nation. And developing nation means bringing up the 21st century learners to its fact. Progress card will include self-assessment, peer assessment, teacher assessment, and card will reflect the progress and uniqueness of learner in every aspect. A school must have a standard setting and accreditation also. Student centered policy. It is something child centered policy. It thinks about every corner, every stakeholders, involved every stakeholder, every school leaders, every educators must study.
Hello and a very warm welcome to Great Principles. I'm your host Seema and I welcome you all to another insightful session, National Education Policy 2020. Yes, you heard it right. It's being much talked about. Everyone is discussing on it. Yes, it is being implemented at various schools also. People are trying to understand what it is. So, to all my dear viewers, today we are going to give you key highlights of this visionary policy and tell you what it has so that it makes India the knowledge superpower, the global knowledge superpower. And to share these takeaways, we have with us our very devoted educator of the day, Dr. Priyadarshi Nayak. He is principal of St. Xavier School, Cuttack, Odisha. Welcome to Great Principles, sir. I'm really honored to have you with me today.
Namaskar. Thank you very much. Thanks for calling me to this show.
So, before we discuss on National Education Policy 2020 key takeaways, let us first understand from you what has been your journey in education domain and what is that keeps you going in here.
That's great. And I can start up with a saying that as an educator for over 28 years, has a deep and abiding faith in practical idealism that generally has brought me to this extent. And as a school guide, that becomes an awesome when you become a responsible and you become responsible for educating children and young adults around. Specifically, born and brought up in the teacher's family, brought up to this extent, a firm determination to become a good teacher, committed by myself totally to school teaching at starting at the hometown in my home state at Odisha, then moving towards in different schools, working with St. Xavier's, working with DPS, working with Dune group of schools, and finally now I am working as a principal and academic head of St. Xavier's group of schools of Odisha zone. When we talk about my special abilities, special functions, as far as beyond the teaching line is concerned, that is training. I'm basically a CBSE master trainer, resource person of CBSE, where I feel that training is something which will take us way forward to success. I have always developed a passion for learning, and if everyone does so, I believe that the well functioning education system can be structured properly. As a teacher, according to the sustainable criteria, according to the national education policy, says we need to grow, we need to be an effective teacher, we need to empower school educators as such, if at all you want to develop this nation. And developing nation means bringing up the 21st century learners to its fact. Of course, when we are talking about grooming or teacher education, the current and the future context itself says that if at all we are very much concerned about teacher training, if at all we deliver knowledge and skills to the children, to the young adults, so that the teaching fraternity will be proud. And teacher education is something I believe that we need to work on very effectively, very sincerely, so that we can develop good citizens of this country.
Absolutely, sir. Completely agree with you. Yes, for till when we will carry the tag of developing. There has to be a point when we need to call ourselves as a developed nation. And only education is something which can pave our way towards that development. And you rightly said, we need to empower the teacher, we need to train the teacher, to guide that they can further take this responsibility of guiding the young youth of the nation. After all, we have the maximum youth population, but will this young capital be able to take the country to where it has to be? It is possible only with right kind of education. So this is sir's thought, and I completely agree. And to all my dear teachers, all my dear viewers, please focus on teacher training, empowering teachers. As sir rightly said, this is the only way forward. So moving ahead in our discussion, sir, first of all, I would like to know from you, what are your thoughts of NEP 2020? What do you think? It is just another policy, or it's going to stay for a longer run?
Very important and relevant question when we talk about the present national education policy 2020. I believe it is promising one. The vision of national education policy 2020 is very clear in its aspect that an education system which can contribute to an equitable and vibrant knowledge society by providing, you can say, high quality education to all is what is this mission or the vision of the national education policy. It has developed a deep sense of respect towards the fundamental, you can say, the rights, duties, and constitutional values, which is very consciously required for everyone's role, and responsibility is required to change this entire world. If you want to become responsible in changing this world, then this national education policy is promising one, because it instills skills, values, and disposition that support responsible commitment to human rights. And I believe a good global well-being, type of people, type of citizens need to be prepared, and for which this policy will be one of the promising one in the days to come.
So you believe that yes, it is going to stay here for a longer run, and it is going to be will be executed in the manner it is supposed to be.
Absolutely, ma'am. Because if you talk about the previous examination system, the continuous and comprehensive evaluation, which has come to the existence, but it was not implemented properly. And believe me, this education policy also, you need to understand properly, and after understanding, you need to implement it. Unless it is implemented, it will be there in the papers. And I believe Honorable Prime Minister also taking up a huge responsibility, taking interest, even if Honorable Ministers and all education field people are taking interest, how to reach to the people, reach to the teachers, reach to the leaders, and finally it should reach to the classrooms. And once it reaches to the classrooms, I believe the purpose of this policy will be fulfilled. So there are a lot of things that it is there, but a lot of work is happening. And I believe the way the things are happening, the way the things have been implemented, the way the things have been monitored, I believe that this will go for a longer time, and we will have a good policy to be implemented, curriculum to be implemented. You all know that NCF for the foundation learning has already been released by the NCRT, and we are
Yeah.
expecting the higher NCF to come up. So I believe that this will be a promising one.
Absolutely. And I think you very rightly said that key is in execution. So here I and Sir, we together appeal to all the educators out there that, we just keep sitting and talking that we need to get India's glorious past back. We need to, the land of gurus, the land of Vedas has lost its glory somewhere. So to get that glorious past back, to ensure that we have the youth which is capable of fighting any challenges, the right kind of education necessary. The government has done its bit by designing and drafting such a wonderful policy. They are doing their best. Now it's our turn so that we can ensure a better future for our children. So now we will hear some key highlights, some key takeaways of this visionary policies from our guest. Sir, please, would you please share some key takeaways of this policy?
Yes. Of course, in the past 2 years, it was launched in the year 2019. After that, so many discussions, so many roundtable discussions, so many seminars, all the school leaders are attending, even if I am a part and parcel to it. And we used to conduct lot of webinars, lot of seminars, workshops into it. And believe me, if at all somebody asks me what are the expected learning outcomes from it, what are the expected things which are there in the national education policy, I can point wise tell you few things which will be very helpful for everyone who is listening. Number one is the universalization of access from early childhood care education to the secondary level. We all of us know that the foundation learning has been installed, and in this foundation learning, it is believed that the role of a teacher is important. As such, if you start up the education standard, it should start from the pre-level. If when a child goes to 3 years old, when a child goes to the class, there the access to start. This is one. Number two, there is a ensure, it is there equity and inclusion. Equity and inclusion has been included in this policy. Everyone will have the possibility, will have the liberty to enter into the school arena. There were a lot of dropouts which were there, and that will be curtailed. And inclusion policy, everyone can come to the school education. This is something that is me. What I mean to say that we are bringing back 2 crores of children, those who are still out of school education. That is more important is there in the policy. The second thing, the third thing which is there is attainment of sustainable development goals, which is there in the UN chapter also, that sustainable development goals chapter number 4, which is called as quality education, that is being focused off, and SDG goals of retaining all children in schools until completion of secondary education. That is there in SDG goals. That is specifically being marked here. This is something very important, and to improve quality and achieving the learning outcomes, that is called as the foundational literacy and numeracy. Properly, children will be able to read, write, speak, listen, all these areas. So this is something very important, and that is being focused. That is to improve quality and achievement of learning outcomes can happen when you provide quality education to all. Here in this policy also, there is a mark that focus on 21st century skills in teaching. Teachers need to be equipped. Teacher need to go mandatory 50 hours CPD trainings. Unless and until teacher becomes an equipped teacher, a teacher cannot become an effective teacher. Everything is available in the fingertips. Students can go and Google it. Why teachers will be required? So it is here in the policy that they are going to focus on 21st century skills in teaching, learning, and assessment. In the three things. If at all we go to in policy in details, there will be teaching, learning, and assessments are very clearly measured on the basis of the 21st century skills. Then is the resource sharing. A lot of resource has been shared. That is, in between school complexes, in between Sahodaya. CBSE has Sahodaya school complexes. CBSE has hubs of learning. So a lot of resource sharing can happen through school complexes. That has been focused. You all together do it. Together you can meet the expectations of the children. This is one being mentioned. And the expected outcome is when you talk about effective governance, separation of powers and common norms will be there, and once the effective governance will be there, the education imparting will be more effective. With this, there is another point where I can say here everyone is challenging now, and it has been discussed everywhere. That is overcoming the language barrier in learning. There should be language barrier, mother tongue inclusion in the primary classes. Basically this policy says that we need to focus on concept based learning, competency based learning, project based learning, experiential learning, not the rote learning method. The rote learning method need to go away, and we need to focus on the type of learning which will make a child better skilled, a child to be a smart one, can compete globally. And India's Prime Minister's mission, you to have skill education in India, vocational education to be a part of it. So these all inclusion will be there. So that means that there should be a common standards for public and private school education has been mentioned in this policy. So I think here children by these way, children can learn in a very effective way. It may be early childhood care education, it may be higher education, it may be primary education. Equal importance, has been given to every areas where the mission is very clear that child will come up with a smart one. Child will not go with a rote learning method. Child will have lot of understanding based learning here, and this can only happen. Ministry and NCRT also are planning to reduce the curriculum. When the reduction of curriculum takes place, believe me, there is addition of core essentials, addition of critical thinking, addition of interactions type of sessions, addition of experiential learning type of examples. So these are going to help in reducing workload. That means a broader sense of more type of chapters to be inclusion. The curriculum and pedagogy will be transformed. It is getting transformed, and here they will be promoting more skill based learning, role model based learning. And here in this case, the education which is required for a small child to grow will develop in such a way that he will have a lot of inputs in practical learning rather than something which we talk about only learning and vomiting examinations. So here it is very well it is considered how mental and physical health of the children also will be taken care of while this learning process takes place. Generally, you all might be knowing that unless and until our pedagogy becomes innovative, unless and until the transforming teaching learning process are added to it. That means, what is transforming? That means, in this policy say that it should be experiential learning, it should be integrated pedagogy, it should be, you can say there are examples like bagless days are there being added to it. So that means induction of skill education, induction of vocational education to be imparted so that the transformation of teaching learning process can happen. An innovative pedagogy can be implemented in the school. That means the textbook uh, will not be only the criteria for a child to get knowledge, but a lot of other things where teacher can put up by his or her own efforts, by which India's future, India's leaders, the future leader will come up in a bright way so that they can run this country in a better way. So these are some things which I believe are focused on curriculum, pedagogy. A lot of things are reforms are happening in examinations also. In there is a reform in examination coming up in class 9 to 12. Transforming the culture of assessment also is there. How evaluation will be there, how assessment will be there, how children from 10th class board examination, 12th class board examination, they will appear. There is a holistic progress report got prepared by the NCRT. That progress card means will include self-assessment. Earlier only it was an assessment of teacher used to assess it. But here the progress card, which is happening 360-degree progress card, this progress card will include self-assessment, peer assessment, teacher assessment, and card will reflect the progress and uniqueness of learner in every aspect, in affective, cognitive, socio-emotional, psychomotor domain, in every aspect, the child will be, assessed. So this is something what is called as a holistic report card, which will also involve parents in their children's education and development. Very important point in the policy say that the progress of the child will be, actively involve parents in their child's development. So a progress need to be, I believe the progress need to be overall. We talk about holistic learning, we talk about holistic progress report, we talk about everything a child must get. So for assessing also all these areas, AI based software is getting developed. Many AI companies are coming up now. They have developed to help to track growth of every child in the school years, so that parents can know that yes, these are the ways by which my child has the potential, where I need to work on, where I can send him. So these all areas parents can know and guide accordingly. This is one major area which has been placed in the policy. One more thing is I certainly not miss to tell you, that is multilingualism. Multilingualism and the power of language learning. That is one thing which has been introduced in this policy. That is medium of instruction until grade 5, and you can say preferably up to grade 8 and beyond also, will be home language, or you can say that is called mother tongue or local language. This has been introduced. The language of India, that should be, it should not be a burden or a only, yes, in this language it will be taught. If a child does not understand, he goes away like that. No. So this is also one of the important aspect which has been entered into it. As such, every school, if they follow all these things, then every school will be also assessed. It's not only student assessment, it is not only teacher assessment. There is a school assessment also. That means a school must have a standard setting and accreditation also. That is setting of, you can say, a proper school where mm, all sort of professional and quality standards of learning to be implemented. So school also will find out the ways by which they will have the quality assessment and accreditation framework. This framework also is getting ready by SCRT and NCRT, and that is going to be also be monitored to each and every school whether it has been followed or not. And with education, I can say health is also important. Periodic, how a student's health will be monitored, and there is a NAS, that is called as National Achievement Survey. Periodic health checkup and overall system is being also been getting prepared, by which the entire health status of children, staff members can be worked out. Last but not the least is your teacher education. I'll come to the teacher education, and very important is teacher education. And in this, it has been said that there will be a 4-year integrated B.Ed, there will be 2-year integrated B.Ed, and 1-year integrated B.Ed. And the teacher education will be very, very important in the days to come, because this will only is focusing to improve teaching. Improving teacher education is very, very important, and new and comprehensive national curriculum framework for the teacher has come up. All teacher education programs to be conducted by the school. It may be your in-service teacher, it may be the present teacher, but this teacher education, teacher training is being focused more. And NTA, National Testing Agency, has been given in the days to come. He will take up a major role in conducting these examinations, and for that the teacher education, for that the teacher recruitment and teacher deployment will happen, and which is going to help all the schools to maintain the standard of teaching learning process. So teacher eligibility test, you all might be knowing, that is also for all teachers across foundational, preparatory, middle, or secondary stage. That all is will be conducted, because only to strengthen the TETs. So teacher-based planning for teacher recruitment is getting prepared. I think once that into action, once that is followed, there will be a transparent, system to test score and demonstration, to have good recruitment, to have good teachers in the field. And once good teachers come, the role of schools will be easy. Empowering teachers will be the next work. How this empowering will happen? A technology-based comprehensive teacher requirement training systems have been implemented. CBSE and everyone is saying there should be a 50 hours continuous professional development training program should happen. Out of that, 25 will be the trainings from the CBSE, 25 can be from in-house Sahodaya school training, and that has only been made for career growth. Only is being made to improve the standard of teachers. So national professional standard of teachers also is getting made up. If at all you are a good teacher, you have to appear national professional standards for teachers test also. The teacher also will be assessed by national professional standard for teachers. So that is only mean to improve the teacher standard. And once the teacher standard is improved, Of course, in the meantime, teachers will be having autonomy in performing the classes, in presenting their classes, in performing pedagogy in the classroom teaching. But of course, there will be a track system. The teacher professional development track system will be there, who can really assess how teachers are performing, what are the different shortcomings, what are things need to be added to it. That the school leaders, the school principals will certainly verify it, will do it. And overall, the detailed study which I have told you, it is something to bring up quality teaching learning process to happen in schools all around. So this policy, I believe, is one of the promising and the best policy what we have till date, because it is student-centered policy. It is something child-centered policy. It thinks about every corner, every stakeholders, involved every stakeholders. Believe me, this policy, when it was a drafting one, I was discussing with few of the policymakers. It has gone to village level also. It has gone to each and every level of people where they can contribute to it, how it can be a better policy. This policy is simple, 26 page. If at all you go to the National Education Policy document, it has school education and higher education. The two things are there. When we talk about school education, it is only 26, 27 pages, and every school leaders, every educators must study, as I believe, unless and until you understand, unless and until we read it, unless and until we implement it, it cannot work. So my appeal to each and every educators, let us study this 26 and 27 pages of National Education Policy, document. This document will is absolutely a very good one. It is going to bring a change in the education sector if it is thoroughly followed, practiced properly. That's all from my side.
So you have explained in a very simple and very systematic manner that what policy focus. The policy has the vision of educate, encourage, and enlighten. This is the motto of the policy. And as the sir has pointed out, various points starting from ensuring the maximum enrollment into the schooling system, then from improvising on teacher quality, how students would be assessed, what would be the pattern, what parents need to know. Sir has covered each and every point and in a very simple manner. So, in a nutshell, to all my dear viewers, if we put it this way, that before this policy, we all were just evaluating the memorization power of a student. And now we will actually be evaluating the understanding of a student. So, this is what this policy aims for. So it is going to, a visionary policy which is going to change everything. So let us all hope, as sir rightly said, read this document thoroughly and reach out to us if you need any help. We are there to help you, to support you, and ensure that this policy is executed well. Well, on this note, I'm very looking forward for this promising policy to come into force, and it would not only ensure better future for our kids, rather for the entire generation ahead. So thank you so much, sir, for explaining us in detail this wonderful policy. And you really today made us all look little more closer to the brighter future which we have when things will be executed in the manner it has to be. So we appreciate your time with us, sir, and we hope that your words resonate far and wide in the world of education. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And the last sentence I'll say, teacher job is not limited to just completing the syllabus. It is something what I can say. You are preparing thousands of young generations' life. You should ignite the minds of the young generation. That is my last word. Thank you. Thank you very much, all of you. That's
Thank you.
great to be in Great Principal Show. I believe that we will have a good time of collaborations in the days to come. Namaskar.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.